My green room tonight, ladies and gentlemen. First up, she's a screen legend, she's an icon, and she's a dame. It's the one and only, the inimitable Joan Collins, ladies and gentlemen. Evening, Joan. How lovely to have you here. Along with her, we have a man who's a film director and producer, but you will know him best as a great screen star for movies like Matilda and One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest, and there's a double bill I'd like to show the kids. So many more great films. It's Danny DeVito. Look at that. That's charisma right there. Being waited on hand and foot. In the last couple of years, my next guest has won so many awards she's had to buy herself a bigger mantelpiece. She's the star of Mrs. Biggs, and of course she was fabulous in Scylla. It's the BAFTA, NTA and Olivier award-winning Sheridan Smith, OBE. I'm not sure. Wow. Danny's on fire tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Now, tomorrow is, of course, Remembrance Sunday, and in a related story, Number 10 has been caught photoshopping a picture of David Cameron for their official Facebook page. I don't know if any of you saw this, but you can probably spot the difference, because here's how he normally looks, and this was the picture they had up on the page, and then people pointed out that he didn't have a poppy on, so they photoshopped the picture, and suddenly this appeared. OK, that's what they did. And it's strange their Facebook team made that mistake, because Poppy Day happens at the same time every year. So you'd have thought they'd have known in advance. I imagine they've already got the picture ready for Christmas. I think they're going to go with that one. So although I'm a bit worried what they might do when it's Gay Pride Week. And I can only hope they've got the right picture for the Notting Hill Carnival. Because, you see, if they... No, because if they did that, that would be wrong. OK, well, let's get my first guest out. She's a British screen icon with a career stretching over an amazing 60 years. It is the effortlessly sophisticated, the ever-intriguing, the always beautiful Dame Joan Collins, ladies and gentlemen. Come and have a seat.
Thank you.
Dame Joan, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That's a great response. How lovely. I just realised I've probably committed a terrible faux pas already, because I said Dame Joan Collins, but Collins is no longer your second name, of course.
Gibson, but I am Dame Joan Collins, because that's the way that they gave it to me. But I'm either Dame Joan or I'm Mrs. Gibson. I'm not Miss Collins anymore.
Now, you were made a dame comparatively recently.
March.
Now, how is that experience? What do they do for the damehood ceremony?
Oh, well, that is quite amazing, because, first of all, you have to be at Buckingham Palace at 9:30 in the morning with... I took Percy and my two eldest children.
Now, Percy is your husband, we should point out,
yes,
because you don't know.
Percy's my husband. And Tara and Sasha, and then we go to Buckingham Palace, which, even if you've been there before, which I'm sure you have, is quite amazing. You go into a special room with all of the other people that are being damed and sirred and whatever. And Prince Charles was there, and he pins on the insignia. But he doesn't pin it, it's got a sticky thing on, so he just goes like that.
Slaps
and it's on your jacket. And he was very nice to me.
And what does he say? Did he say that he liked a particular piece of work by you, or did he just say, nice to see you again, or did he say...
He said, about time too.
Wow.
Which I thought was rather fabulous.
I think you fully deserved it, and I know we're glad she's a dame, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's a wonderful thing. And I can't think of anyone who deserves it more. I love the fact you're a dame.
Thank you.
Now, you have 3 children.
Yes.
And they have created 3 grandchildren for you.
Yes.
Do you get together at Christmas? Are you going to have a big family Christmas get-together?
We are going to have a big family Christmas with, yes, the whole family. In fact, we're all coming over to London. And that's my brother and Jackie's children and Jackie's grandchildren and my children, and so it's going to be massive. There's a lot of us.
Now, I'm sure you might be godmother to more than one person, but I know that you're godmother to Cara Delevingne.
I am godmother. She's one of my 12 godchildren. Yes, she is adorable, but she also has actually got 16 godparents. Yeah.
16 godparents?
I know. I've never heard of that, actually. Have you?
They must have thought you were all going to be a bit flaky if they went for 16. Is there rivalry between this huge posse of godparents?
Well, no, but we do discuss her sometimes. There is one godmother who's quite famous, and there was a period of time when we were a little bit concerned about Cara. Yeah. The white powder that dropped.
Okay.
You know, that would be a little worried.
Yeah.
And so I talked to her about it. She said, oh, you know, don't worry about that. But she's a lovely girl, and I'm very fond of her. And she's an amazing actress.
But that's
amazing
lovely.
actress.
That's lovely that she has you looking out for, and that you're not, you don't feel that you shouldn't talk to her about things like that when you see something, when there's obvious temptations and people might, that you feel that you can take her to one side and say, stop doing that.
Yeah, I did this on the telephone, but we used to, I mean, since she was about 14, well, maybe 12, she used to have her birthday party all the time at the wonderful bar in Saint-Tropez called the Voile Rouge, which is the most decadent, wonderful, ridiculous place in the world, was unfortunately now closed. And Cara and her sisters, Poppy and Chloe, used to dance on the tables. I never danced on the tables, but we did dance in between the tables, while various oligarchs were shaking up the champagne and spraying it all over everybody.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun night out.
No, but it's daytime, darling.
Well, that sounds like a really fun day out there.
It's like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock.
But
yes.
I get the thing, you probably don't drink that much anymore. Do you still drink? Do you still like...
God, yes.
Oh, OK.
Yes, last night we were out. We had a celebration dinner for my book, and then we went down to a disco. And I said discotheque, and somebody said that's awfully old-fashioned to call it a discotheque.
I think we should start calling it discotheque again.
Discotheque sounds so much nicer. And yeah, I had a bit of wine, but not champagne. I don't like champagne. Everybody thinks I like champagne because my character in Dynasty drank champagne, and I don't like it.
You're still acting. You do still appear in things, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I just finished a cameo in the Ab Fab movie in the south of France.
Wow.
Which was great. And then I've got, I'm coming out, I'm singing this year in Benidorm, which I love Benidorm. Do you guys love Benidorm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Johnny Vegas on a while ago.
Oh, my God.
And he was talking about working with that scene. Now, what a great... Who would have thought you would be a screen pairing with Johnny Vegas, having a bedroom scene with Johnny Vegas?
I know. Well, it was hardly a bedroom scene. But I have to say, I've never been so shocked, as when we did rehearsals, he kept his clothes on. But when we did the scene where I come in, because I'm meeting the handsome waiter as an assignation, and he was in bed, and he was eating a big chocolate bar, and he'd taken off his clothes. And so my reaction when I saw him was really kind of, what? And it was totally non-acting.
So he was standing there completely naked?
He was lying in the bed completely naked.
Wow.
Yes, with a tiny little sheet.
Did you...
Well, it wasn't that tiny.
What about Dynasty? What about Dynasty? Because that changed your life, really, didn't you? I mean, who expected that to be as big a hit and to have the impact it did?
Never. When I went out, you know that I was like 3rd choice or 4th choice for this role.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they wanted Elizabeth Taylor, they wanted Sophia Loren, and they wanted another actress that I can't remember who her name was. But Aaron Spelling, he really wanted me, he really pushed for me. And the rest of, you know, the ABC people and all the rest of the suits, they didn't want me. But Aaron got me. And so when my agent called me and said, you know, they want you for Dynasty, I said, what's that? I mean, I don't know, is it a Chinese restaurant? What is it? It was unheard of in England. And it was not doing well in the ratings. So he said, well, you know, this'll be a nice part. He sent me some sides. I looked at the sides. I thought, yeah, these are fun. You know, this could be funny. And I thought, I'll go out. It'll be like a 6-month gig. Well, 9 years later,
wow.
9 years later, having been on the cover of like 400 magazines, apart from everything else, you know, it came to an end, which was rather sad. It was sad because I enjoyed it a lot.
There was a lot of action involved in that. If you look back at it now...
There was a lot of action.
I'd like to remind everyone of you in Action in Dynasty, because it's so kind of the time, and yet it's so much fun. I wish there was something like it on there, because there isn't really anything like that, is there? That kind of level of fun melodrama.
No, there isn't, actually. No. Well, is there? No, well, there's reality shows like the Beverly Hills Housewives and things like that, but it's not the same, no.
OK, so this is Joan Collins back in the fabulous Dynasty. Now, I am amazed by your slapping technique there. A lot went on. I always wanted to ask you this. Can I be part of the Dynasty experience? Would you slap me?
Well, you really want me to? Okay, well, you know, it's done in a certain way.
Oh, is it?
So, OK, you have to get a little closer.
OK. I'll...
All right.
Okay.
How dare you!
I see, so you get that, OK. Didn't even make contact. Did that look convincing?
Right?
OK, let's do it again, and this time, get closer.
OK. You are horrible!
That's better. That's very good. Wow.
I didn't want to hit you with my nails.
No, I didn't want you to hit me with the big ring on there. That's what would have taken the tooth out. In a way, I think, the way you're looking at the way you're crewing, would it be right to think that Jackie, your sister, who so sadly died this year, and I know we'll talk a little about that, but in a way she was responsible for you getting the Dynasty part, in an indirect way? Indirectly,
yes, because she wrote this book called The Stud in 1978 or 79, and it was wonderful. I mean, The Stud was great. I mean, it was right about the time of Saturday Night Fever and all those discotheque movies, and so that was a kind of precursor of Alexis. It was rather like Alexis, and so apparently Aaron Spelling saw the Stud, and then I met him at a party in LA, saw him around, and that's when he thought of me.
So it was via the pathway.
Yes, it was. It was certainly via Jackie, yeah.
Like everyone was so sad to hear the news this year, and I saw you briefly afterwards, and I know you've spoken about it. But she hadn't told you that she was ill, had she? She'd kept that from you for quite a while.
She kept it from most of her family. She kept it from our brother, who lives in England, and she only told her 3 daughters. She didn't want anybody to know. She didn't want pity, and she wanted to carry on just as she always had. So since she found out that she had got it, she wrote 5 books. You know, 5 books in 7 years. She went to Australia twice. She went to New York 3 times. She came over to London for my investiture in March. She came over to London again 9 days before she died. She did Loose Women, and she was phenomenal woman. Really amazing. Yeah.
That is incredible. And so when you tell us what she achieved after being told that, because she knew, I think 7 years before,
yes,
that she would definitely die of cancer, and it was
well, she didn't know. She told me when she called us about 3 weeks before. She told me that she had it, but that she was fighting it, and she had been taking treatment, and we planned going to Hawaii for Christmas with all of our various children and grandchildren, and so it was quite a blow. I'm still suffering. Difficult for me to talk about, really.
Do you... I mean, I think you can understand why she didn't tell you. At the same time, was there a part of you that thought, I wish you'd told me earlier?
I don't know, Jonathan. You know, I'm still... you know, it's a process. I'm still thinking about the whole thing. I find it very hard to actually realise it. The fact that she lived in LA and I was in Europe most of the time means that when I do think about it, I think, oh, she's in LA. You know, I'll see her soon. I still haven't processed it totally, and I think that grief, you know, great grief is something that takes a while to process, and you never get over it. You just learn to live with it.
You must be thinking about her quite a lot, I would have thought, at the moment.
Yes, I do.
You're going back to Los Angeles for... it's more of a celebration than a memorial, is that right?
It's a celebration, yes. That's what she wanted. She planned to have 100 of her friends come to her house and celebrate and have a big party. She loved giving parties. She gave great parties. She was a great hostess. People loved her. I've never seen such an outpouring of love and attention when she passed away, which was only 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. I mean, it was headlines. She got the cover of People magazine in New York, which is America.
Well, for an author, that's remarkable.
I've never heard of anybody getting that, an author. I mean, if Charles Dickens had died, maybe... well, of course he had.
But, you know, the lovely thing is, I know how close you were, again, because there's some periods where you had been estranged somewhat.
No, we weren't estranged. We just weren't as close as we used to be. I was going out with somebody who she loathed, and he didn't like her very much, and so we just sort of didn't spend a lot of time together. Yeah. But this happens. But, I mean, I was looking through my papers and things the other day, going through drawers, and I found this scrapbook that she made for me when she was about 11 or 12, and I had just started in the business. I was 17. She'd made this scrapbook, and she had cut out and pasted every single press clipping from that 2-year period, and she'd pasted and she's written, you know, sort of Sheffield News, June the 2nd, and in her handwriting, and I found this, and I'm going to take it and show it to her daughters.
That's a lovely thing.
Well, we were very close. Yeah.
You know, of course, as I said, she was famous for being an author and being such a huge, successful author. You have written many books, of course, and the reason why Joan's with us this evening is she has her 6th book out here, The Saint-Tropez Lonely Hearts Club. Joan Collins. Yes. Describe the book to people.
Well, basically, it's a book. It's set in Saint-Tropez. It's set in the 3-month period of the height of the season. The characters are very eccentric and very unusual. There's a wonderful gigolo who I love in the book.
There's some saucy scenes in here as well?
Yes, of course, absolutely. Why not?
Do you enjoy writing the sex scenes?
Yes, I do. I use my extensive experience and imagination.
Nicanor set her gently down onto the silken bed.
Oh, God.
His lips travelled to her breasts.
Oh, stop!
Which he freed from her simple blouse. Carlotta started to respond. His lips were so soft and warm. As he...
No. Make...
her nipples.
Did I write that? Somehow...
Hold on.
All right.
I was lost in it there for a minute. They're so fabulous to have you here. I'm so sorry you're going to show. And the great thing is Dame Joan is going to stay with us for the whole programme, ladies and gentlemen. So join me for Dame Joan Collins. Still to come on the show, we've got Danny DeVito and Sheridan Smith, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Jonathan Ross Show. Let's get my next guest out. He's one of the biggest stars on the planet, figuratively speaking. It is the fabulous Danny DeVito. Mr. DeVito, you know John, of course.
Yeah.
Danny, take a seat. You come up here. You come up here.
All right. Very nice.
Danny, great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm really good.
So, Danny, I see a picture of you in New York last week, and I don't know if this was what's going on here. You're out walking a dog.
Yeah.
The dog's wearing a dress.
Isn't that cute?
That is very cute. What's going on there?
Well, you see, here's the thing. That I was making a movie, but the thing about it was the headline in the article was, if you didn't see the picture, it was kind of confusing because it said, Danny DeVito in New York walking his dog in a dress.
That's what I saw.
So a lot of my friends says, what are you doing wearing a dress? Out of the house. You usually just wear the dress in the house. Are you okay back there?
I'm well. I'm enjoying listening to you. No. Go ahead.
All right.
Have you got dogs, Joan?
No, I have grandchildren.
Same thing, right?
Okay. That's
really good. They all shit on the rug, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but you have dogs at home as well.
I have a long-haired Chihuahua. Don't start with me, you guys.
Oh, there's a picture of the beast you have at home.
That's it. That's Zorro.
Oh.
Zorro. Yeah, he's a great dog. He was a rescue dog. You know, he was very tiny when we found him. He was shivering cold under a house, and we looked around for an owner. There was nobody around. He's been with us now 5 years.
Wow.
He's a great dog. It took a while for him to warm up to folks. You know, he thought he was going to be taken away or something. I don't know. He was just very terrified. And I have a friend who's from Mexico, and he thought he was going to bond with the dog. And the dog would not let him near him. He came, every time Leopoldo would come over to the dog, Zorro would just growl at him and like snarl at him and say, okay, take it easy. Maybe it's, you know, he is a Chihuahua. You are a Mexican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe he's got some. And then finally, after 3 or 4 days, Leopoldo leaves. I was in L.A. We were all in L.A. He calls me from New York. He says, I just arrived in New York, but I realized I finally bonded with Zorro. And I said, why? He said, because he took a shit in my suitcase. He's a lovely dog, really.
And, Danny, I was recently, you know, I was just talking to Joan about Dynasty. Of course, one of the...
Dynasty.
Well, we say Dynasty.
I know. You say Dynasty, I say Dynasty.
Yeah, well,
I say Dynasty, too.
You say Dynasty?
I say Dynasty,
What's
Dynasty.
the Dynasty?
This is, they're English.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just remind you that you are both in England right now? Yeah. Okay, but that was a great period of TV. And, of course, Taxi was, I think, predated that a little bit. What an incredible series Taxi was. I've been rewatching some of those recently.
Oh, yeah.
A special time in your life, I imagine.
Yeah, it was absolutely a beautiful time. I loved it. It was 5 years, great show. Everybody was really close, a lot of fun.
And that was your first big taste of celebrity, of fame on that level?
Yes.
Okay, how did that affect you? What was it like? Were you crazy? Did you do the partying? Did you enjoy it?
I did. Like, what are you talking about? It was the early 80s.
Okay, but what kind of wildness was it? Because Andy Kaufman, who I'm slightly, not obsessed with, but very, very interested in, as most people are, because a brilliant, unique talent.
Yes.
Died far too young.
He did. We all died far too young.
I love that Twins movie.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen it about 3 times. It was so hysterical.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel... Well, obviously you did, but Arnold's forearms were unbelievable. I presented some awards with him at the Oscars, and I just went like this, and it was like touching a steel bar, a big steel bar. Amazing.
Yes.
You saw that?
Yes, I marvel at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you spend...
I mean, you're really into steel bars, aren't you? Okay.
You know, one of the big stars that period as well, another guy who I always think of as being a similar performer in some ways to Kaufman was Robin Williams, of course.
Yes.
You were friends with him at that time as well, I think?
friends, yeah, Robin. I remember when he started, Mork and Mindy. We used to go down. We lived... Well, actually, our show was on stage 25. He was on 27. So we'd all go down. We heard about this amazing guy, and he was amazing, an amazing, amazing talent. We're very sad that he's gone. And... But he was dangerous because Robin was very funny. Once we went swimming. There was a swimming pool at somebody's house, and I was sweltering hot. I just dove in the pool, and I don't swim very well, and he started telling jokes, and he almost killed me in the deep end. It was he was a fantastic guy, and if you want to see him in a great... I did a movie called Death to Smoochie with him. And he is amazing at it. He plays Rainbow Randolph. He's fantastic.
Well, you directed him in that, of course. You directed that. Did you prefer directing to acting? I mean, it must be a very different experience.
It's kind of a different experience, but I enjoy both. I mean, I'm an actor, and but I like doing, the movies. I've done several, and it's a lot of fun.
How would you deal with it if you're working with an actor and they're reading a line in a certain way and you think that is not the way that line should be read? Like that. That's how you do it. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Did he do it?
Yeah.
Did he hit you?
What
you don't do it like that.
Did you not see how Joan did it? There's no actual contact needed. You're the worst actor in the world.
I paid attention in the green room. Although I was distracted a bit.
But can you... With Sheridan, yes.
He's coming.
Okay. From the sound of it, someone in the audience is as well. Let me ask you about another one of a performance that was incredible by you in the Tim Burton Batman movie, Batman Returns.
Yes.
About 1992. I know we're getting into the dates here.
Oh, wow.
What an incredible performance of Cameron.
Yes.
You're definitive.
Fantastic.
And
Thank you. I love doing it. Tim is a great director, and it was a really great experience. I did have a close encounter on one day. There was I don't know if you remember the scene. This was one of my favorite days because I just like. There's a scene in the movie where a monkey brings the Penguin a note from Batman. So he climbs down these. There's a long staircase built in the set, and Tim. I'm in costume with all the, all the fat suit and the this and the that and the hat.
Hands.
This whole thing. And he says, come and watch the monkey because the trainer is doing the thing with the monkey. So the trainer, one guy's down at the bottom and the other guy's way at the top. And the guy at the top says, okay, and I'm watching, Tim says, watch the way he does it because I want you to be the guy at the bottom taking the note from the monkey. So I say, okay, watch the thing. And the trainer gives the monkey the note. They make some kind of sound. The monkey comes down the steps, looks around, hands the trainer the note. Fine. They did it twice. I said, okay, I can do that. So now I go to do it. Cameras are rolling. I'm over it now. You see, I'm in the character. I got drool I've got black drool coming out of my mouth, and I'm going. I'm looking up at the monkey, and the monkey comes down the steps with the note. Everything's going great, and he leaps at my balls. and latches on. Thank God I had the suit, the big, it was all full of, like, these little, I don't know, padded beads things. I don't know what they made it out of. The guy had to rip the monkey off of my crotch. It was really horrifying. He's grabbing, and I'm going, holy shit, this is curtains. And luckily, I had the suit on, and but when I took it off, there was a chunk taken out of that suit. Man, I would be like, talking like this right now.
Why? So the monkey did that because he hadn't seen
I think he was scared. He was scared. Beautiful monkey.
Scared.
I took the monkey home. Beautiful monkey. Really.
Now,
nice.
Danny's in town, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a lovely thing. Danny's in town because he's involved in a charity called Serious Fun. It's a charity in honour of, partly founded by, I believe, Paul Newman. Or
That's right.
That.
Paul Newman.
Big charity gala here in town. Tell me about this charity, because it's a lovely thing.
The idea is, I got involved with it a few years ago. Paul was really giving. He was a guy who cared about kids and cared about their well-being. And this camp is basically all for kids who were born with major physical disabilities. They were born with things like half a heart, or this part of them doesn't grow, or there's immune deficiencies, there's lots of cancer, there's all kinds of stuff. Paul's idea was that these kids should have a chance to be children instead of patients, because from the time they're born, they and their parents go through this horrendous daily, weekly, whatever it is, medicines, needles, tests, operations. So he started this Serious Fun camp. He started as, it was called it was the Hole in the Wall, which was taken from the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid stuff, and then it became the Painted Turtle, and now it's called the Serious Fun Camps. And every year, thousands of kids all over the world go free of charge to a camp in the summer, and they get to do things like zip line and ride on, swim and walk in the woods and do all kinds of camping things, and they learn, and they sing and they perform, and they get to live a really great 3 months of their life, because the rest of it is pretty tough. And it's also for the parents too. The parents, and it's free of charge. Nobody pays anything. They go. We pay for it with our generosity to this organization. Well, it's a blessing to be able to do it.
That's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a really lovely thing. Speaking of kids, you've been working with some kids from the UK here. You've been working with One Direction. I believe recently. Now, you haven't taken over from Zayn, or have you? Is that what's going on there?
No, they asked me to join the bands, but I figured, well, listen, all these 19-year-olds in a 70-year-old crazy man? No, you don't want to do that. So it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. The boys are, as they're called, they're very, very spirited and fun. And we did a troll foot picture together, if you want to.
Danny likes to get his foot out, ladies and gentlemen. We already did this. We had your foot out before last time you were on.
You have one? You have a picture of it?
Did you do one earlier on?
I did it in the green room, yeah. I did it with the folks in the green room.
This is just where you have the foot in...
Take the foot out and stick it in front of the camera and shoot it. I tweet it. So you can go on, follow me on Twitter. I didn't know what to say. You know, people said, you got to go on Twitter. I said, what am I going to say? My first tweet was, my balls are on fire.
Wow. Joan, that was your first tweet as well, wasn't it?
Yes, of course.
But I didn't know, you know, how are you going to keep all that up? You know, so I started tweeting my foot. And there's thousands of pictures of my feet out on my one foot, right foot, troll foot.
Only the right foot?
Only the right foot.
Is there something wrong with the left foot, or you just...
No. This is the act-up foot. This foot, really, you can't control. And, boy, you're cruising for a bruising. It's a good thing you're not standing in front of me, because I'd plant it.
Danny's going to stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thrilled to say, join me, say thank you to Mr. Danny DeVito. Joan College is here. She won a BAFTA for her fine performance in Mrs. Biggs. She's nominated for an Emmy for the wonderful Scylla, and she stormed the stage with 2 Olivia Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, she's one of the hottest actors around right now. It is Sheridan Smith. Sheridan, great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming back to the show. There you go. You've met Joan and Joan.
Hello again.
Hello again.
God, I missed you.
Nice to see you.
Now, were you feeding him grapes, or was he feeding you grapes back there? What was
I fed him grapes, he gave me a banana.
Wow. And you're a fan of the troll-foot phenomenon?
Massive fan. Well, I follow you on Twitter,
thank you.
obviously. But yeah, Danny's foot is my massive... And I just got a picture backstage with it.
With the foot?
With the foot.
Not with Danny?
No, with hashtag trollfoot.
Wow. Yeah. It's got a career of its own, almost. Well, Sheridan, hey, it's great to have you back on, because you came on a while ago and you were doing great and everyone was talking about you, but your career has gone through the roof since last time you were on the programme. I mean, it's been amazing. Mrs. Biggs was phenomenal. Scylla was incredible, wasn't it? What a wonderful piece of work that was. Has it felt that way to you? Has it felt like things have changed around you?
I don't know, I just keep kind of... It's work, isn't it? You know, you keep working and just grateful to keep getting jobs, I guess. But Scylla was like a real kind of turning point. And to play Cilla Black, I mean, what a legend she was. And, yeah, it was a real honour.
So when they came to you, did they come to you because they knew you could sing, or did they ask you whether you could sing if you were to play it? I mean, how did that all work out?
Well, it was Jeff Pope who wrote Mrs. Biggs, and the same team as that. They kind of came up with the idea a long time ago. Then I went for dinner with Scylla. And that was amazing. I kind of didn't know what to do. I was dropping all my cutlery, using the wrong cutlery and everything, and panicking. But I did a lot of research, and, yeah, they sent me to singing lessons, and then we sung it all live. Yeah. It was all kind of recorded live.
So when you met with Scylla, did you already have the part, or was that part of the process? Did she have to OK the person who was going to play her?
I think they went to her with the idea, and thankfully she said yes. So, yeah, there was no kind of audition process. But she was wonderful. She was wonderful to meet, and I did a lot of research, asked her a lot of questions, and she was always there. She said I could ring her at any time, but you can't ring Cilla Black, you know? I was like, oh, God, she's an icon to me, so...
It must have been strange for you knowing that you were singing in her voice and she would then be listening to you singing. What did she say about the... Because everyone was knocked out by the singing, because it is... That was, I would have thought, a real challenging part of what you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was petrified, because, I mean, it's Cilla Black, you know. There's only one Cilla, and her voice was so distinctive. So, I mean, there was a big thing me and the director had a big conversation about. You know, I'm not an impersonator, so I didn't want to do, you know, the typical... Everyone does an impression of Cilla, don't they?
You do the full, all that lower laughs,
all right, you know. But no, I didn't do that. Yeah. So we just did like a little mannerisms. I watched loads of her stuff for 3 months, all the footage from the 60s of her, and just took little mannerisms. But that's really kind of you to say. But yeah, there's only one Cilla.
Do you find yourself ever sort of slipping into it accidentally, doing a bit of Cilla at home? Or...
Only when I get the teeth in.
Because you were wearing her teeth. Well, not her teeth, but you were wearing a facsimile of her teeth.
Yes, but she was a real great sport about that. She kind of said, how do you sing with those in? You know, but yeah.
You could have asked her the same question, of course.
Of course I wouldn't have a third. No, but yeah, she was so supportive about it. So, yeah, what an honour. And then, obviously, with all the, you know, now that everything that's happened, it's even more kind of heartbreaking.
Of course,
yeah.
it's so sad. Let's remind ourselves of Sheridan Silla, because this was a phenomenal success. You know, this is, just to remind you, this is Sheridan as Silla in Silla. That's incredible. And that's some song.
Fabulous.
You know, one of the things that struck me, though, there were similarities with you and Silla, if I may presume, because she struck me as someone who knew she was talented, knew she had a certain level of fame and recognition, knew she had an audience that adored her. You are similar as well. You must know you have great talent, and I'm sure you must enjoy success, but you seem so down to earth. You seem so kind of in touch with who you were and who you are all the time. Do you have people who help keep you grounded? Are you just someone who... that's just you, naturally?
Well, yeah, my family are like... You know, we're from a little village outside Doncaster. Hey, come on, you're the only other person I know from there. We stick together. So anyway, yes, I'm from there, and it's kind of the place. And my family have always, they say they've dragged me up right. That's what they say. But they've, you know, they're a country and western duo, and you know, knows their airs and graces. And if I ever went home to the village with any kind of attitude, I'd soon be slapped straight back down.
Yeah.
There was one time actually, and when I first started acting, and I'd just done the Royal Family. This is not all my village, by the way. They're lovely, and I love you all. Thank you for all your support. But one person, I went back, and I'd just done the Royal Family, and I walked into the local pub, and I was like, yeah, all right. And they said, oh, yeah, we saw you on the Royal Family. I don't know if I can say this, actually, because it's got a swear word.
Well, I tell you what, Danny could do the swear word for you if you want.
What do you want to say?
When I say little, you say fuck. When I say fat little.
It might be a word Danny's never heard before, ladies and gentlemen. OK, so Danny, you're going to help out in this anecdote.
Just to help so my mum doesn't see me swear.
Your mum must know you.
She does, I know, but I'm 34. Come on, grow up. But yeah, anyway, so I walked in the pub, and I said, they said, oh, we saw you in the Royal Family. I said, oh, yeah, what did you think? You know, a bit cocky. He went, bye, you off, didn't look a fat little...
Fuck.
Yeah.
He said it, not me, Mum.
Oh, you look a fat little fuck.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Yes, I did.
And what did you see Sheridan's performance, Joan?
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal because I know Silla so well, and I've known her for like 25 years. I couldn't believe the singing, particularly, was... And I said to Percy, I said, they've dubbed Silla's voice, haven't they? And he said, no, that is Sheridan singing. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. It really well. You've got to see this.
Thank you so much.
Danny, you really have. It's stunning. Is he
We'll get you a DVD, Danny. We'll get you a DVD.
Thank you so much.
No, it's true. Amazing.
But Danny, you played in Man in the Moon. You played a real-life character, didn't you? You brought George Shapiro to life, didn't you?
Yes, I played George Shapiro. But it was a lot different because George can't sing.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate that I didn't have to sing.
You handled that side of it especially
You
well.
sounded great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thanks,
Really
Danny.
wonderful.
Did you miss me well?
I did.
Oh, thank you.
So
we
you've
had a lot
been-
of fun in the green room.
So it's all happening tonight. OK, Sheridan, let's talk a bit about you, because you've been nominated for an Emmy for that performance, which is exciting. So you'll go out... Are you going out to the ceremony? It's New York, I believe.
It is in New York, and but I'll be on stage doing Funny Girl in London Bridge, so I can't go. But it's
so
still...
you can't go to it?
No, they won't let you go?
No, no, I'm on stage. But it's lovely to be nominated. But the writer's going. He's got more faith in me than I have. I said don't bother.
You.
Yeah.
But it's just nice.
Well, let's talk about your private life a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
OK. Now, am I right in thinking that this seems... I know how hard you're working. I'm assuming it's the fact that you're still single. Is that right?
Who's asking?
Well, judging by the green room earlier on, Danny DeVito is.
Do you know what? I've read so much stuff, and do you know, it's kind of... I don't really know what the obsession is, but I've read so many lies, actually, about me dating this person and that person. Every gay friend of mine I've been out with has been my new mystery man. The best one was I stepped out for a dinner date with my mystery man. It was my brother. I know I'm from a little village, but, like, you know, it'll be me and you next. Or me and Danny, for sure. We'll be in the papers tomorrow.
Or we can make a night of it with the three of us, if you want. I mean just going out to dinner. But the reason I ask, though, isn't just to pry, but it's because I guess it must be tough, because you're right, there is this interest in you and there's this fascination, and the newspapers will write whenever they see anything.
Weird.
So that must make it tough on you, I guess, to take that chance and to go out with someone the first time.
It is, really. You don't really get a chance to meet people. I mean, I know I'm always working. I'm a workaholic, and I live on my own with my 3 dogs. Sounds really sad and Bridget Jonesy, doesn't it? But, yeah, I just meet people kind of on... Oh, there's my dogs! Oh, look at them. That's Enid, Trish and Barry Manilow. Yeah, so they're my babies. I don't need a man with them.
So you work a lot, so I guess you don't meet people outside of the immediate circle of people you're working with?
Not really, no.
But you wouldn't want to meet someone via, like, Twitter or something like that, or would you do that, or...?
What are you getting?
No, I'm not getting anything. I just wonder whether, because I know people do. That's how these days it's like...
they do.
You know, what's that one? It's not Grindr.
Left
that's
or right? No,
Tinder.
that's Tinder.
Grindr's the gay one. Tinder's the straight one.
No, Grindr's the... Yeah. No, yeah, Tinder's the one where you swipe left or right.
Yeah.
No, you can't go on that, though, can you?
You couldn't do that.
I would like to. Oh, my God, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this interview. No, I wouldn't. No, no. I don't know what to say. I got embarrassed. But, yeah, no, that's it.
OK. Well, let's talk about Funny Girl, then, because that's what you've got coming up next. Now, many of you remember, and I'm a huge fan, you remember the Barbra Streisand movie, Funny Girl, of course, where she played real-life performer Fanny Bryce. You're doing this now here at the Chocolate Factory in London, and then it's going into the West End. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we were so fortunate that people, I don't know if it was through Twitter or whatever it was, but it sold out in an hour and a half.
Wow.
So we've moved to the Savoy Theatre in April.
You must know a lot of it is down to you being in it.
Well, I think also that it hasn't been revived since 1966, so no one's done it since Barbra Streisand did it, which is terrifying.
Once again, yeah, that must be really intimidating.
Of course it is. But I mean, what we're doing is like a completely different version of it, and putting like, you've just got to put your own stamp on it, I guess, haven't you? Because obviously there's only one Babs, and I certainly can't sing like her. So we're doing our own thing, which is going to be great. I mean, it's a dream part to play, so...
But you're ready? Are you feeling ready?
I'm really excited. And the fact that people have been so supportive and got behind the show, and hopefully people will come to the Savoy, and it's so much fun to be back in the theatre. I don't think you can beat that. I
mean, it's got a few songs in it, but there's the one big song, isn't there? There's the one big song she does, Don't Tell Me, you know... yeah.
Go on, do a bit for me.
Well, no, because I think if there's the choice that people have of hearing a version of that done right now, I'd be 4th on the list. And that's going to be the moment people are waiting for. I mean, that's the kind of to be or not to be moment in it, really, I guess. That's the litmus test.
Absolutely. No, you're right. It is the song that everyone knows, and it's a brilliant moment in the show, actually. It kind of gives me goosebumps when it gets to it.
Yeah.
It always makes me laugh in musicals when they suddenly go, no, don't, you can't do it, don't. And I go, don't tell me not. It just makes me laugh when you burst into song all of a sudden.
I love that.
It's camp and brilliant, and I love it.
Give me a tiny bit more. Give me 2 lines.
No.
Come on, do 2 more.
No, I've got
Go on.
No.
Go on. Oh, come on.
No, I can't.
Just
No,
2
I
more.
can't. No, will you do it with me?
So, here we go.
Don't tell me not to... I'm not singing it on my own. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter.
Oh, yeah, come on, that's a special exclusive preview. That's
You're so embarrassed, I can't believe you made me do that.
we're going to go to a break, but ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in saying thank you to Miss Sheridan Smith? You guys are going to stick around for the last part of the show. Danny and Joan will still be after the break. Don't go away. Okay. Welcome back to the Jonathan Ross Show. With Joan Collins, Danny DeVito and Sheridan Smith, ladies and gentlemen. OK, you guys are getting on great. Hey, Sheridan, let me ask you this, and I believe this is true. You have some tattoos, I believe.
No, Mum, I don't. No, I haven't got any.
I thought
one
when you've got one, I can see one.
No, Mum doesn't know I've got
Your mum doesn't know you got tattoos.
She knows I've got that one.
OK.
Oh, see that?
So she knows one. So how many are there?
Nice.
We promised not to tell her. How many more have you got that you haven't told her about
She's
yet?
got 4 more.
I haven't, Mum, I haven't, I promise. 34, still scared of my mum.
Why would you not tell your mum you have a tattoo?
Because she hates them.
Oh.
She thinks they're vulgar.
Well, you know,
She's right.
hold it, Joan's agreeing.
Oh, no!
Yes,
You
I don't
don't?
like
Have you never been tempted by a tattoo?
Never. I hate pain.
OK. Let's go back to Funny Gut. The accent, how's that on stage? Because you were saying, Silly, you didn't want to do an out-and-out impersonation. You've dipped into Silly a little bit and done it brilliantly. Have you got the New York accent nailed yet?
I've been trying... I said to you could help me with the New York. I got to talk like that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Is that all right or not?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'll show you a little bit later.
When you do it, where's Fanny from? Where's she meant to be from?
Well, she's from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is a distinct accent. My father was from Brooklyn.
Danny, your American accent is great.
Really
My
good.
American accent?
Right,
Really
you've nailed it.
Thank you.
He has nailed it.
I try hard.
Do you do accents? I haven't heard you do. I don't think I've
Me?
seen you play. Do you do?
I don't do accents.
Have you ever played an Englishman on screen?
No. I mean, no.
Sounds like Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, my God.
I guess it is just practice, isn't it? It's like anything.
Are you good at accents?
I'm brilliant at accents. Just any accent you want.
OK, shout them out.
Hi. I was educated at Oxford. Don't get me into trouble. OK. So the ones you struggle with, I believe, am I right thinking
Yes.
you struggle with Geordie?
Why, I? No, I can't really do it. No! I think of Cheryl Cole. I can't do it. It's terrible.
That was more Ant and Dec with Cheryl Cole. And what about Irish? You can't do either, is that right?
Are you Irish? No, I'm not very good at that. No,
That wasn't bad.
Was it not bad?
For Geordie, it wasn't bad. But it's weird, because Geordie, I believe Joan Collins does an amazing Geordie accent.
Geordie?
Yeah, I hear you do a good Geordie.
Oh, hi. That's about it.
I think we'd like to apologise to anyone who's watching who is either Geordie, Scottish, Indian, Irish,
We're going to get complaints on
American.
Twitter.
Yeah.
We get Twitter trolls out
Yeah.
saying we've all been insulted.
I've insulted no one. You've done all the insulting. I'm fine. Thanks to all my guests tonight. Sheridan Smith, Dame Joan Collins and Danny DeVito. Next week here on the show, we've got an exciting exclusive as Cristiano Ronaldo joins me for his first ever British chat show. David Tennant will be here and I'll be joined by Agnes Dean as well. So hopefully we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, everyone. Good night.
Looking ahead to tomorrow night, can he get to the bottom of his genetic history? New Jekyll and Hyde at 7. Fleur East and CeeLo Green. The X Factor results live at 8. And at 9, is this the end? The final extended instalment of Downton Abbey. You won't want to miss it. Next tonight, it's the ITV News.